What's up, Karma Nation? Welcome into another edition of our college football best bets. This time we are live, obviously, on the Bet Karma Twitter. Before we really get this thing going, I just want to quick mention that on dfskarma.com, we have some college football articles for the DFS sides of things. You can get our core plays for $20 a month, I believe. We've been hitting a little bit there, so they've been good to go. It is me, Justin Bales, as your host this time. We have Brad here. You can see him. You can hear him. And we also have Chris. You won't be able to see him this time, but Chris, go ahead and talk so they know that you're here.
What's up, guys?
How's everyone doing this week?
Doing pretty good, dude. Just ready to watch some football and win some money, honestly.
Yeah. Last week, not the best for the pod. Chris hit Wisconsin -3.5. That was such no sweat play. They absolutely dominated. They didn't even have Jonathan Taylor for a little bit of the game. Very easy. Brad had UCF. Obviously, they lost. I know Travis probably doesn't want us to discuss it, but they had 3 touchdowns, I believe, where they caught the ball like within inches out of bounds. It was kind of gross. On top of it, sorry, Travis, mute this if you want. But can we stop having UCF fans say we want Bama now? They couldn't beat Pittsburgh. Come on. And then I lost Georgia. I believe it was -14.5. Still tilting 6 days later. Kirby Smart kicking a field goal on 4th and inches at like Notre Dame's 20, up 10 to put you up 13. Absolutely hated it. As soon as he did that, I was personally rooting for Notre Dame to just win the game outright. I wanted Georgia's season over. But alas, Georgia won, and we can just move along to this week's bet. So, Brad, why don't you start us off with what you have?
So I'm going to go ahead and start with Ohio State, 17.5-point favorite at Nebraska. I like this game here. Ohio State's covering all their games so far. One thing that's pretty crazy, a lot of people might say it's a big line, and Ohio State last year statistically did not cover a lot of games. But in the Ryan Day era, they've only not covered in 1 game. And I think that the spreads are a little bit more favorable. This is their first true test, but Nebraska has not looked impressive.
Yeah, I agree with that. Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I was going to say, yeah, they struggled, let Colorado back in that game to lose. They struggled last week. Nebraska hasn't been covering against the spread in the last couple of years. So I think Ohio State will go in there and continue their offensive onslaught. I think I just don't think Nebraska has the athletes to keep up with Ohio State. So I think you're on the right path with that one.
Yeah, I agree that Ohio State just looks different this year. It looks like
top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense.
They look like they want to destroy spreads instead of just win games. So, Chris, what do you have for us this week?
I've been looking at a couple things. And there's a couple games tonight that you might get into. I don't know if I need to pick one game. I think I'm going to go back to the well here with my boys from Maryland, getting 6.5 at home on a Friday night. Been kind of doing a little analytic research on it, and I don't think Maryland is as bad as they played against Temple. I think some poor coaching decisions led to that, and I don't think Penn State is as good as people are making them out to be. They do, have a front 4 that is pretty good against the run. Maryland's been, it's going to depend on the tempo of the game. Maryland is getting about 86 plays per game, and Penn State slows it down at 57 plays per game. And I think at home with the fans riding behind them, you're getting Maryland that's throwing the ball at a good clip. They're completing, their yards completed are about 12.8 yards, and they're about 50% completion, which I don't like, but they're picking up 44% of the third downs, and Penn State's picking up 27%. So rush yards per game, Maryland has an edge, and same with passing. So I think they're going to run up tempo and kind of wear out Penn State a little bit. And I think College Park is probably the biggest game down there in 20 years on a Friday night. So I'm going to take Maryland and the points and try to roll that into Saturday and win some more money. Any thoughts?
I like that because, just being relatively close to Penn State, they're on TV all the time. You hear people talk about them all the time. They're overrated. most years, honestly. And
Yes,
people are going to
absolutely.
hate that, but they just are. Like, there's certain teams that generally are overrated. I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, but like Notre Dame's another one that usually gets more hype than their team should. Penn State, they just seem like that kind of team, especially this year. I don't really honestly think they're all that good. Brad, what do you think about that game?
Totally agree. Actually, wouldn't be surprised to see Maryland get the win here. And so you're telling them I'm getting six or 6.5 points, depending on where you get it. I actually already locked that bet in. So I really, yeah, I'm with Penn State's overrated. I mean, and it was those big blowout victories early in the season that helped the hype train, but I don't think they're as good. Especially if it's a shootout, I don't think they keep up with Maryland.
I'm going down to Baylor. Another home dog. They're +3. So Ralph Michaels on Twitter, he tweets out a ton of trends, and they're fun. Like, you can't base your bets solely off of trends. But since 2014, undefeated home dogs from week 5 on are 19-7 against the spread. It's just another thing to kind of boost the play. But one of the big things here is that Baylor ranks 26th in the NCAA in home field advantage. It's a metric that was created by Action Network. I like to follow it. They're +88 through 2 home games this season. Obviously, they didn't play anyone big. I'll get to that in a second. And this is Iowa State's first true road game. I believe they played at Iowa State for 3 consecutive weeks. So Baylor essentially beat Stephen F. Austin and UTSA by very, very wide margins. They then beat Rice. It wasn't overly impressive, but they fumbled 3 times in Rice territory. They lost 2 of them. Their center just literally wasn't getting the ball off the ground in shotgun. He rolled it to the quarterback multiple times. That's never ideal, I guess you would say, but it's very fixable. And it's their most difficult game, obviously, to date. I just feel like they're much better than those types of teams, so I don't really think that it matters that much. Whereas Iowa State's coming off a dominant win over UL Monroe, which that doesn't do anything for me. I don't care. When you look at it, they barely lost to Iowa, but it was at Iowa State, and then they beat Northern Iowa, an FCS team, in overtime. They could potentially be playing without their starting center. They haven't had him since the Northern Iowa game. And then the one major factor in this game is third down conversion rate. Baylor's converting over 60% of the time. It leads the nation, obviously. And I know that it's against weaker competition, but I feel like even if you drop it down significantly, they still rank in the top 10. Whereas Iowa State's is at 47%, which is good, but they hit over 50% against UL Monroe, and they hit 3 of 9 against Iowa. So, I mean, really, it's a little bit padded by that weak game. And then Baylor's averaging or allowing only 3.2 yards per carry. Obviously, Iowa State wants to run the ball a little bit. If they can stop them on early downs, they can get them into 3rd and long, which then Baylor also ranks 26th in the nation in sack percentage. So, I mean, as long as they can stop the run early on, it should be Baylor's game to win, not only cover, but win. And just taking 3 points on it just seems a little too easy.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. I didn't put a lot of thought into that game until I heard your analysis, actually. Not a big fan of how Brock Purdy's playing this year either. In tough games versus Northern Iowa and Iowa, they looked bad. I'm all aboard on the Baylor train there.
Yeah, I put that in. I haven't sent it out yet, but that's one of my plays is taking Baylor +3 at home. So I'm excited to see that game as well. And I'm also looking at, I didn't throw this out yet, and I got to put it up. Looking at taking Virginia Tech tonight, -2 at home. I need to get my page out, or my article out here soon.
Yeah, well, that'll be up soon tonight. So everyone that's watching this, in a bit, Chris will have his article up. It'll have more bets that he likes. You can obviously follow us on Twitter. I believe Baylor's probably the only bet that I'm making this week. I know Brad has his spreadsheet on Twitter, so give him a follow. Check that out. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the Bet Karma YouTube channel. You want to get these plays as soon as they're made so the lines don't change. And I mean, let's just have a good week and good luck, everyone.
Absolutely. Hey, Brad,
what's up, man?
How many points is UCF going to win this weekend by? Are they going to cover that 43 after losing last week, or what?
I think they're going to come out screaming. I think
That's what I think.
56-0, 56-3.
They'll be up 40 at the end of the first half. Might be a good first half play. So, all right, boys. Well, I'll catch you guys next week, if not sooner.
Good luck.
Guys.